A local public accounting firm is harnessing artificial intelligence for forensic accounting. Our Chase Campbell has more.
Accounting firm Perry & Associates says they invested in Data Snipper, an AI-powered tool that integrates with Excel, about 3 years ago. What started as an audit enhancement has transformed their forensic division's capability of tackling complex fraud cases. Director of Assurance Brett Burns says the tool is a game changer, cutting investigation times from months to days.
And we had one specific case that required us to analyze almost 500,000 documents within a 7-day window. So you can imagine trying to do that via paper, PDF, anything to the natural eye. Not easy, but through this program that can basically manipulate and sift through data at extremely fast pace, we were able to meet the needs of that case and actually win the case for the client.
The technology's impact becomes clear when compared to traditional methods. Tom Kirk, Director of Investigations at Perry Forensic, recalls the old days of manual document review.
We would receive tens of thousands of pieces of information, and so it would take all the investigators, and we would have to hire people to come in and go over and highlight and try to record page numbers, and it literally would take weeks, sometimes months, of dozens and dozens of people to do that. I mean, now we basically do that with a keystroke.
The firm's dashboard tracks thousands of hours saved through the AI tool's use, but Burns emphasizes that efficiency isn't the only benefit. The technology enables deeper investigations too.
It doesn't just save us time, but it enables us to dive deeper into something that before we maybe would have had to stop here, but we can go to a new level down, which is much better for our clients at that point.
Kirk stresses that artificial intelligence enhances rather than replaces human expertise.
Once the artificial intelligence gets done and starts putting up red flags and keeps pointing us to where we need to look at, then the actual intelligence kicks in, and that's where we have our trained investigators.
As fraud schemes grow more sophisticated, Perry & Associates believe staying ahead technologically is crucial for remaining competitive, especially as a mid-sized firm. In Marietta, Chase Campbell, WTAP News.